What it do, folks? Your girl, Miss South Florida, Notorious Gossip Diva, and I am on the phone with none other than Mr. Hussle. That's right, Mr. Nipsey Hussle. What it do, babes? How are you?
What's up, Ma? How you feeling?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. Everything good. Just out here in Seattle, we did a show last night and knocked out some features and all that, just on the grind.
Oh, okay. Well, for the folks that are slipping and not up on their shit, tell them a little about yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm an artist from out of LA, from the west side of LA, Crenshaw Slauson District. I've been doing my thing for about a year now. I signed the Epic at the beginning of 2008. Dropped a couple mixtapes that got pretty well received on the streets. It was titled Bullets Ain't Got No Names. I dropped 3 volumes of them. My album getting ready to come out top of 2010. I got a gang of features, a gang of shit on the web. I've been smashing the blogs and the mixtape circuit for like a year and a half. So, we ready to step it up and drop this official project, Top 10.
Okay, and I know that you didn't blow up overnight, and you know that you didn't blow up overnight. But for motherfuckers that may think that, give me a little insight on your musical journey up into this point.
Man, it's been a super long run. Like you said, it might seem to just the average consumer that it was an overnight type of thing. But I've been really pursuing this goal for like upward 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I've been recording music in the studio since I was like 14, and I'm 24 now. So I've been recording music for like a decade. I never really had no family that did music. We ain't really have access to no studio. I just always was like pursuing my dream and trying to sharpen up my craft. So, it's a long, detailed story I can go into. I can give you the short version. You know what I'm saying?
I read something online that I guess you've been making beats since you were 13, and I guess when you were younger, you had to sell all of your personal items and your jewelry to buy studio equipment. What was that like, or what's the story behind that?
Yeah, that was basically I think I was like 18 at that point, and I hadn't been going to school. I had been in the streets for a couple years, and I was getting money and all that, and I was basically like knee deep in the streets. I had spots and all that. I was getting money, but to the average young dude, I was feeling good. I had jewelry, I had cars, rims, gang of girls and all that spots. I was having my bread, like my hustle was established. But I just had a instinct and a real passion for music, and I knew that I never feel like I was doing what I was here to do until I was doing music. So right in the middle of like the prime time of my grind, when everything was at its peak, I just made a decision to like what I call take 2 steps back to take 10 forward. I knew that it was likely that I'd end up in jail or even worse. What goes on out here in the streets. So I just had to make a conscious decision because I wanted something different for myself. And I sold all my shit, bought a Pro Tools, set up a Mac, and we just started grinding. I started doing it out the house.
Right. Now I was watching BET and I saw you in the cypher, and I was loving it until they put somebody behind you who didn't even speak no damn English. Like, how was that experience? Did you get a lot of gigs on the East Coast? Because I know that was over in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I mean the cypher, we did that in New York, but the filming of the BET Awards, the awards took place in Atlanta, and I performed on the awards too. And I wasn't mad at dude that came after me. It was kind of awkward because nobody knew what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't mad at him. I can't knock his hustle. He trying to do his thing.
Right, because it's crazy because honestly, I'm down in Tampa, Florida, and I've heard your name on everybody's lips. I'm like, who is this guy? Nipsey. I didn't know. So I was watching BT, and when I heard you, I'm like, oh my God, that guy is hot. So I've been on my Google game like mad heavy. So
that's right.
I don't know how. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like out here, you're not on the radio, but yet everybody bump your shit. Like, how do you think you're so successful without airplay out here? Like, what is your formula?
I think, like, on a large scale, it's a trend of people that, feel like the type of music that they grew up loving is not getting played on the radio. So I feel like I kind of, like, fed a void with my music, you know what I mean, because it was kind of, like, tailor-made for the dudes that's in the spots and the niggas that's in the street and the people that come from the struggle and that's out here, in these areas and living this lifestyle. So I feel like I kind of, like, like full-fledged fed that demand, and I think that's one of the reasons why, you know, across the country in the streets, people got me on their list, and you know, I got their ear because I kind of like tailor-made what I do for them. I wasn't really aiming for like a quote-unquote ringtone record or a record that, you know, I feel is just a pop crossover type record. I was just doing the type of music I grew up loving, and I think that's the main reason why people connecting to it.
Right. Now, I can honestly say for me, like, a lot of West Coast artists, they rap about, you know, gang life, things that, like, me, I have no knowledge. I'm so ignorant to the gang culture. But, like, when I hear your records, it makes me feel like I want to investigate or I want to know more. Why do you think you had that appeal, man? I got Nipsey fever.
Nah, that's so what's up. And that's a hell of a compliment because, you know, in my process, in my creative process, I try to like, you know, give a different perspective on our culture and our lifestyle and get like the human element to it. Like, you know, they got us portrayed as like animals. It's like we just like machines or something, or we just, you know, ignorant, just killers, you know what I'm saying? But it's a human element to this, and it's actually we the effect of a cause. You know what I mean? You don't investigate the effect, you investigate the cause. And so that's what I try to give in the music. I try to give the cause, because people know what the effect is. You know, young niggas in LA is all, you know, on some gangbanging shit. Not all of them, but a large majority of them is you know, involved in the culture of violence and gangbanging. But when you go to understand why, it kind of makes sense. It's not we don't, you know what I mean, it's not no big mystery. If you understand that, you know, there was no males in our communities for decades, that they was all in jail or dead, that it was drugs, you know what I'm saying, that came into the community, that it was, you know, political agendas that went in the same direction of keeping young niggas in this mentality and this lifestyle. And that's what I try to like speak on in my music without preaching to niggas, without, you know, having a holier than thou approach. And I think people relate to that.
Right. Right, now, you said earlier, you said you're working on the album? Because I know the mixtape is the Slauson Boys. Was that Volume 1?
Yeah, I did about 4 mixtapes. One of them was the first one called Slauson Boy Volume 1. And then I did the Bullets Ain't Got No Name series, which was Volume 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, and then the title of the album, which is coming out in 2010, is called South Central State of Mind.
And who did you work with on that album?
Man, we went in with just about everybody. We went like Justice League gave me records, Mr. Lee, J.R. Rodham, Battle Cat, Alchemist, 1500, Phonics, Cool and Dre, Playing Skills, David Banner.
Wow.
Like, yeah, nigga went in with everybody. L.T. Hutton, Scott Storch. You know, I've really been grinding. Not everybody's gonna end up making a project, but I cut records with everybody. The Runners gave me one of my favorite records.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And as far as
I
like
know
artists,
you did do an album with. You did an album with me. I'm not a rapper, but I could talk some shit on the album, Nipsey.
Oh, all right. I know. You know. I know you was up for all that, so I might have to take you up on that. You can come talk some shit in the session. Hit the blunt one time, get right.
Wow. So you worked with a lot of artists. I remember I heard you say, well, I was reading on Google, that you said, I'm from a block you can't truth with. But then I was Googling some of your mixtapes, and I know that you work with Artist The Game, who's like a known blood. How did that collaboration come about? And is music colorblind in the gang culture?
I mean, I think that's the direction we're trying to push it to. I feel like with the last generation of West Coast artists, that was one of the things that hindered the movement, was that they were still set tripping, that they was bringing a street mentality into the industry, and it was affecting they overall success. So I feel like with the new generation of artists from the West, myself, J-Rock, G Malone, 211, Problem, and, you know, a host of other artists, like that's the trend we setting forth, that, you know, we ain't set tripping, that we understand we come from similar environments, that it ain't really no options for us. So since we got this good thing going, we all going to be responsible enough not to fuck it up for each other and the niggas that's going to come after us.
Right. I like that.
So to answer the question, yeah, like, you know, we ain't no set tripping going on in this new era of West Coast hip hop.
Okay. And I know that you had a web series called Turned Up. What exactly does Turned Up mean?
Turned up is a lifestyle. It mean that you out here. You know what I'm saying, you letting your nuts hang. You turned up. You know what I'm saying, you taking your stance in the world. You know what I mean? And in many different aspects. My hustle was turned up. You know, the way I deal with my women is turned up. The way I do this music is turned up. It's just, you know, like high energy, like, you know, being aggressive with your stance on what you want in life.
Okay.
And you know,
and I know that you're.
Go ahead.
Huh?
No,
Go
I was
ahead,
gonna say.
because I was cutting you off. You were saying. Go ahead.
No,
I
I was
talk
gonna
a
say,
lot. I'm
niggas,
sorry.
no, you supposed to. This is your interview. You supposed to talk a lot. Nah, but you know, niggas in LA had a movement. We was just TIU. You feel me? The Tony Lope takeover. Turn it up, and niggas was just, you know, niggas was just running the program. You know what I mean? Right when we was trying to get into the music game, we had to take the streets first and make our stance, and that's really, you know, in LA and on my side of town, that's where that came from. And we was really trying to take the streets and you know, transition from being just average street niggas to getting into this music. And we just mobilized the whole hood and started going everywhere, hopping out at the clubs, having posters on every corner, hitting these different areas with the mixtapes and just letting the movement be felt. And we was turned up with it, you feel me?
Oh, okay, I definitely feel you. Now, I also read that you're a devout member of the Rolling 60s. What exactly does that mean, and how did that influence your music?
I mean, you know, when they quote me as a devout member, you know what I'm saying? That shit, you know.
You can tell that's straight internet, right?
Yeah, you can tell, you know, but I come from Slauson and Crenshaw. I come from all 60th Street. You know, I grew up in that area. And so, you know, it had a big effect on my outlook on life just because, you know, in LA, that's the dominant culture is gangbanging. So, you know, it also influenced my music because that was a reality that we live with every day. So a lot of my opinions and my conclusions about life was based on my experience in an area controlled by that culture. So it had everything to do with my music. This early music, now that I've been, you know, exposed to different environments and different cultures, you're going to hear a change, not in my perspective, but just in my, you know, in my range and the way that I go about, you know, telling my story.
Right. Now, let me ask you this, because I know I would get tired of it, but do you ever get tired of the Snoop Dogg comparisons? Because, honestly, y'all look like carbon copies. I'm for real. Y'all look so much alike. Yeah. And I know he's a Crip also. I mean, you have to hear that all the time.
Yeah, I get that a lot, you know, and like I always say, if they was comparing my music, I think I'd be a little worried because, you know, I feel like you can't come in the game and be the second to anybody. You got to be original. You have to be an innovator. But, you know, they compare how I look, and, you know, I ain't necessarily mad at that. I see the comparison. We both slam. You know what I mean? We got braids. We got a strong L.A. accent. So, you know, I get it. I see where it comes from. But, you know, like I always tell them, I'm Nip Hussle. That's Snoop. You feel me? End of the story. Yeah.
No, for me, like, y'all styles are totally different, but just on first appearance, y'all do look alike. So I was like, damn, is he a relative? What the hell is really going on? But glad you cleared that up. Now, speaking of Uncle Snoop, what do you call it, Uncle Snoop? What do you call him, the big homie?
Yeah, all that, Uncle Snoop.
California lingo on.
That's right.
Okay.
You had it, the big homie.
I did a big homie, okay. So now I heard him on a recent radio interview. I don't know what station it was, but I believe it was out in Cali. No, it was in New York. I believe it was in New York. And he was talking about how people that gangbang outside of Cali should stay there because you guys follow a different code of ethics. Do you agree?
Oh, most definitely. I feel like, you know, in every other place besides California, it's not the dominant culture. You know what I mean? Like, you might have little blocks and, you know, niggas do that shit on the side, but L.A., it's like, the gangbanging controls the streets of L.A. It ain't like, you know, people gonna choose, or I think I want to be a Crip, or I think I want to be a Blood. No, that's gonna choose you. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be a Crip or a Blood or be affiliated with that based on where your mama pay rent at, based on where you raised at, period, point blank. You know what I mean? It's not no, you know what I mean, outside influence that's gonna make you want that. It's just actually, it's what's going on. You're going to go outside before you even understand the world. You're going to understand there's cripping and blood and going on. There's certain parts of town that if you ain't from over there, you're not going over there because niggas is set tripping. And, you know, if your folks is from over here, you know that you can't fuck with these other niggas over here because there's a real on-site war going on. So I feel like, like you said, it's a totally different code of ethic and it's a totally different level of sincerity that niggas gangbang with in Los Angeles as opposed to every other place.
Right, so anybody outside of Cali shouldn't have taken that as any type of disrespect, right?
Nah, I mean, you know, they can't. There's no way you can take it as disrespect, because, you know, I wouldn't care. A nigga can't take what I'm saying as disrespect, because I know what I'm talking about. You feel me? I'm not telling no lie. This is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and in your opinion, does like the LA gang culture help or hinder its underground hip hop scene?
I feel like the gang culture, the violent part of it, it hinders it. You know what I'm saying? The part of gang culture that is the set tripping and the beefing and the killing and all that, it hinders it. But I feel like
Right.
as far as the culture of, you know, having a pride in where you come from, and you know having a deep seated love for your people you was raised with, and being willing to defend that and die for what you believe in, I don't feel like that hinders anything. I feel like them is strong principles. It just got to be directed, you know, in the right direction. It can't be for something. You can't be willing to die for something that has a negative intention. You know, so I
Right.
feel like the intentions of gangbanging and the actual, you know, agenda need to be changed from violence to more or less like, you know, protecting your turf,
Right.
just holding down where you come from, and you know what I mean, doing your thing.
Mhm. Now, I was on the rap promo call. Those are my people. Shout out to my boy King. And
Oh
you were
yeah,
on there. Yeah, I love them guys out of Atlanta. You were on
yeah,
there. G Malone, Rocket, Warren G, 40 Glock, a lot of you guys. And when I was listening, it seems like you all are so united. Is that a facade, or you guys really have each other backs like that? Because it's not like that everywhere. Like, I'm in Florida, and they don't really stick together down here.
yeah. I mean, you know, we ain't that was all a conscious decision we all made ahead of time, because we seen how, you know, niggas divided the coast when they start
Right.
beefing. So we was just
Right.
like, you know, if niggas don't have serious problems, you know, niggas shouldn't be on record talking about they mad at each other and beefing and all that and making songs. That's corny. And if niggas do got
Right.
serious problems, we from LA. We handle our problems by going in the back and doing what we do. We don't make records about it. Niggas get down. You feel me? So, and I feel
Right.
like we all holding each other to that element. We ain't letting each other go Hollywood and go industry. Like, niggas is gonna handle their issues like niggas handle them before this rap shit. So niggas ain't so quick to beef, because we know that it's actually gonna go to what it's supposed to go to.
Right. And it's money involved. It's money.
Exactly. And it's like, we've been shut out for so long. We ain't had no outlet for LA artists for so long. We be complete idiots to take this shot and then start, you know what I'm saying, taking it for granted to the point that we start beefing with each other.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I know we were talking about radio earlier, and I've heard a few artists out west say that LA radio doesn't really support its local artists. Do you feel like that? Has that been your experience?
Um, yes and no. I feel like, you know, just because you a local artist, that's not a good enough reason to be on the radio, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? You got to
Yeah.
have something that a lot of people want to hear, because the radio is a
Mhm.
venue for a lot of people. It's not just for, you know, a small amount of people or just a specific crowd. It's for the majority of people. So I feel like you have to have music that a lot of people want to hear in order to get on the radio. So whether you're a local artist or an artist from Miami or other regions, if you got something that's good enough to appeal to a lot of people, the radio will support it. Now, I do feel like, you know, it need to be a outlet created for the local artists, you know what I'm saying, because it is a
Right.
demand for that, but they don't owe us nothing. I feel like we just got to get our music to the level that it's undeniable.
Right, and you just said something. You said they don't owe me, they don't owe you guys nothing. Because I was just going to ask you. I know a lot of guys complain also that I guess the OGs, the older guys, don't really pass the baton or show you guys love.
I
And
mean,
you still feel, go
no,
ahead.
I feel like, you know, the same way about them. Like,
Mhm.
it's like, you know, you can't expect another grown man to wake up in the morning and say, okay, how can I help Nipsey Hussle? I'm Snoop Dogg, or I'm
Right.
Dr. Dre. How can I help Nipsey? That's unrealistic. Don't nobody think like that. Niggas wake up and say, how can I improve my life? How can I improve my family? How can I improve my situation? And so, you know, you got to be realistic about your expectations of people. I don't expect nobody to help me unless I represent an asset to them, unless I
Mhm.
actually can help them, you know what I'm saying, in some form or fashion, because fair exchange is not robbery. So I feel like, you know, my intentions was always to be an asset to where I didn't have to rely on somebody to do me a favor. It makes sense to fuck with me because I got something to bring to the table.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now I know that a lot of people we've been here because a lot of artists on the East Coast and down south have went to jail. We got who's in jail now? I know Wayne's going to jail and Gucci's locked up, Boots and a few other people. So people are talking about the hip hop police, and I know you've experienced them firsthand. I heard that all your equipment got seized, and your clothing store. You had a clothing store over in LA, right?
Yeah, we
And
had a
they got
t-shirt shop.
raided.
Exactly.
Yeah. So why were you with Target?
I think because of, what we was into before we started doing music. It's just a part of making the transition. We was, we all had cases, me and my brothers, and, we was all trying to, straighten out what we was doing, but it just, we had stopped being involved in doing anything illegal, but they were still paying attention to our moves. So, they just took the opportunity when they had it to raid and, see shit. The way that, the power that the police got in L.A. because of the gang thing is kind of crazy. So they didn't really need no probable cause or no actual proof of no crime being committed. They just raided because of who we was and where the location was.
Mm-hmm. And you got exonerated of all charges, right?
Yeah, I beat all my charges. My brother had to go do 19 months for some other shit. But, he out now, and, we back on the ground.
Right. So I know when you got your deal, you guys went to Jamaica and was living it big, and you were saying how you were on jet skis 1 minute, and when you get back to the States, reality set in. Tell me about that love-hate relationship that you had with hip-hop at that time.
I mean, it just was like, just growing up. Like I said, I've been trying to do it since I was 12 years old. I've been recording since I was 14. So, I sacrificed a lot to pursue a career in music. And it got to certain ages, like when I was 16, 17, I'm like, man, fuck that. I'm about to do what I do and get some money. You know what I mean? And I gave up on rap for a while. And then, like I said, when I was about 18, 19, I came back to it after I had got everything, all my material possessions that I wanted. And, my little status and all that. And, the little, image that come with having money and all that. And, the women and just the whole appealing to your ego, the shit that, entice you when you're young. After I got all that, I still found myself wanting, to do what I love to do. So I got back into the music. And then when I got back into it, I sacrificed everything I had again, only for the police to come raid me and take everything and leave me back on ground zero. And it had me kind of like, dealing with regrets. Like, damn, if I knew this was going to happen, I'd have just stayed in the streets and sacrificed everything I had again, only for the police to come raid me and take everything and leave me back on ground zero. And it had me kind of like, dealing with regrets. Like, damn, if I knew this was going to happen, I'd have just stayed in the streets and just, I'd have been, a couple thousand up, and I'd have still, been off my last little move. But like you said, it's been a love-hate relationship, and it just, like, when I got my deal, it's like, all right, finally everything is right. And then I had another speed bump to get over. The police raided, and I had to go to jail again and fight a case. But, everything happened for a reason. I believe God got me, so I'm out here. The album coming out is done damn near, so the buzz is crazy, and, I think people is actually excited about the project.
Yeah, they are excited, and I'm excited too, Nipsey. I can't wait. Now,
That's right.
Another quote from you. Let me find out. I'm doing these Nipsey quotables, but this is another quote from you. It
I fuck with you, though, because you on your job. You did your research.
Thanks. You said, it's kind of hard, but I try to stay... Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me start it running back. It says, I'm kind of hard, but I try to stay the same and balance both worlds. You don't want to forget where you come from, and at the same time, you don't want to miss your blessings, trying to live this same lifestyle you've been living. Do you still feel that way?
Most definitely. I feel like that's one of the hardest things. It's like, you got to stay in between a certain space. You can't go too far left. You can't go too far right. And that's hard because it's like, I don't know. I think the type of person I am, it's like, tell me what direction and I'm going to run at it. I'm going to sprint my full speed in that direction. Whether it's, if I'm going to be in the streets, I'm going to go hard. And I'm going to make sure that I'm doing everything I could do, in the streets. And if I'm going to be in this music, I want to go hard. Well, like I said, if you go too far into the industry, you've gone Hollywood and you forgot who you are. But if you stay too much into the streets, you're going to end up, taking a loss, like a T.I., even though he's going to be back, or like a Boosie, or like a Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very fine line you got to walk in order to still remain true to your original self, but, achieve goals. And it's sacrifice. You got to let certain things go, and that's hard.
Right. And one of my favorite lines from you, it's simple, it's real small, but it speaks volumes. You were saying, let me get my best Nipsey impersonation.
That's right.
You like, mama know my gun bang, granny know my gun bang, but that's it. It's so simple, but yet it speaks volumes. And I don't have children, but I was thinking about my nephew. How did your gang affiliations affect your relationship with your family?
I mean, at one point, it was kind of like that was the main reason for our conflict, you know. And then
Mhm.
I feel like once they just realized that, you know, I was becoming a man and made decisions that it was no convincing me to you know, go the opposite way on, I feel like we started just trying to understand each other more. And, you know, I think especially me and my mom have a better relationship because, you know, I try to be as sincere as I could and as much myself as I could without being disrespectful. So that, you know, because I feel one of the problems is when kids don't know their parents and parents don't know their kids. You know, because you're not going to confide in somebody that you don't know, and you're not going to tell the truth to somebody that you don't know. And I feel like a lot of
Right.
times people run to the street because they feel like they can't be themselves around their folks. So, you know, it took a toll on me and my mom's relationship, but you know, I feel like now that I'm doing music and she know that I've been my original intention from day one, it kind of like
Right.
I came full circle and she respected.
Mm. Okay. Now, I remember in the 90s, I think I'm a little older than you, just a little bit, not that much though.
That's right.
There was the West had a real strong hold on the industry. What do you think, well, why do you think that was lost, and what do you advise other artists from your region to do to reclaim it?
I feel a part
Was
of it
it
is
like in
just
the
natural.
90s?
Yeah, hell yeah, you already know. I grew up on all that. But I just
But
feel
you
like,
didn't
you
get
know,
caught up in that like West Coast, East Coast beef, right? You didn't get caught up in any of that.
nah,
Because
I
that was
did. I ain't
bullshit.
gonna lie. I
You
did. I ain't gonna
did?
lie to you. When I was a little kid, I was
Oh,
like, man, I'm death row and nothing. You feel me? It's Pac and that's it, and
I
Snoop.
got you.
But I always was a fan of like the East Coast music. I could never hate on Biggie or Jay-Z or Nas because they always made great music. But it was just such a
Right.
fanatic West Coast movement at the time, like you said, that it was something that everybody rallied behind. But I mean,
Right.
you know, as far as the what can be done to get it back, I feel like it just got to be classic records. People got to be sincere with their process of creating. People got to actually, you know, do what they feel and be themselves. And then I feel like, you know, at that point, people will start being interested in what we talking about again, because it's not like we're not trying to sell you nothing. We just doing us. We just being ourselves. And I feel like that's the
Right.
music that people relate to the most.
Right. I'm actually going to LA next month for the first time, and my only vision of LA is like old Tupac videos. Like seriously, do you have any suggestions of places like I could go,
I mean,
get my
shit,
dance
it all
on?
depend
Like,
on, yeah, it all depend on what you're looking for. If you want to just have some fun, hit Hollywood. You know,
yeah.
you can hit the clubs, and then,
Mhm.
you know, if you want to go to the hood and see what all this flossing boy shit is about, you know, fuck with your nigga.
Right.
You know, call me up and I'll take you around.
Cool, cool. All right, I'm
Yeah.
writing it down. I just got a few more. Now, I know a lot of gang members or former gang members suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. Have you ever thought of, like, seeking counseling, or is that just something white people do?
Nah, I don't think that's just something that white people do. I feel like if you feel like you need to talk to somebody about something, you need to talk to them. But I do understand that that's very real though, and you know, we as people from the street, we kind of got a aura about shit like that. Like you said, oh, that's for white people and all that. We look at it like
Right.
it's weak, but I feel like people don't understand, you know, the effects of being exposed to so much violence and being exposed to just the mind state of somebody, you know, that's a full throttle gangbanger, and being around that, and the way we just, you know, rationalize killing, and the way that we just accept, you know, uh, the fact that, you know, you got 13 and 14-year-old kids going to kill shit, and that's cool, and that, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, that going to jail for life is a real possibility, and we just accept that. And I feel like, you know, that part of the game, you know,
Right.
need to be, you know, amended.
All right. So what can we look forward from you in 2010? I know you got
All
some stuff
guns,
up your sleeve, Nip.
oh yeah, all guns blazing. I ain't gonna give too much details. People, I've been quiet for this last little month for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But all guns blazing. Definitely expect the solo album to come out. Definitely expect me to put out some more my new street music, my new mixtape series. Thank you, Cuz.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I did 3 volumes of Bullets Ain't Got No Name, so I'm going to introduce my new one. We're going to have a gang of new online, like we had the Turned Up series. We got a new series we're going to put out online. I did a movie with Ving Rhames, and the movie's going to come out in 2010. It's called The Wrath of Kane. Um, I'm going on tour with Snoop You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my own tour with the Source magazine to promote my album. The Slauson Boys album is gonna drop, which I'm all over. You know, I got so much going on. I'm just loading up the clip right now, getting ready to come out guns blazing.
And are you still trying to smash Lauren London? Because I know Wayne beat you to it.
No, I'm not trying to do nothing. I ain't trying to do nothing but get money. Yeah.
I saw Brad ask you the 5 chicks you wanted to smash, and you was like, Lauren London, holla at me.
Hey, but no, so you know, that's that man, baby mama. So you know, it is what it is. We were just joking around and shit, though. I'm trying to get rich. I ain't trying to do nothing else. Right. If it come to me, it come to me. But you know, I'm out here chasing bread. All
right, and what's your favorite food, Nipsey?
Man, my favorite food? I don't really have a favorite. I like a lot of different types, but I got different modes. If I'm feeling like a certain way, I'm gonna go for one of my different dishes. Like I like enchiladas. I like steak. I like fried chicken. You know, my folks is from Africa, so I like the food that my pops cook and that, you know, my people back home, you know, ethnic cook food and all that.
All right. Now let me ask you a question. Also, like, I don't want you to go all cannabis on me. So if I ask you to split a 16, is that cool, or I gotta pay for that, or what's going on with that?
Nah, you don't gotta pay for it. I mean, shit.
Because cannabis flipped out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to have that happen.
Nah, I mean, you know, I would rather, like, give you something, like lay you a record and shoot it to you for your show. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
just over the phone.
That's hot. Okay, that's how we'll do that then. Well, you know what? Thank you for your time, Nipsey. I had an awesome time talking to you. I've learned so much about gang culture and just you as a person, and I really think that you are the one. You are the one.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate it. You already know, anytime you want to get back on and, you know, pick up where we left off, we got it. And when you come to L.A., make sure you hit your boy, because I got you.
Okay. Cool. And you make sure you tell Adam that my name is Miss Mouth because I talk a lot, not for any other reasons, okay?
Oh, yeah. No, trust me. We got that. We understood that. Don't trip.
All right, then, babe. Talk to you later.
All right, look, mama. Good looking out.
Bye-bye.